We are live here on the Rams Radar. I'm Peo Time, and I am joined once again by a Rams Radar community favorite, I must say, Bryce the Bears Fan. Bryce, thank you so much for doing this.
I mean, hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Dude, okay, because we collabed last week. We had the video that I dropped and was well received. People loved it. And then when you messaged like, hey, I wouldn't mind doing like a breakdown. I know you're still sitting in it. I am still pretty high on life right now.
As you should be.
So everyone in the chat who showed up, whether you're watching live or on the replay, thanks for being here. Make sure to say GG's to Bryce, and we want to make him feel welcomed. And so, Bryce, let's talk about the Bears fan reaction and the Rams fan reaction here. Okay, how are we feeling after this game?
Obviously, I am still feeling pretty crushed.
Yeah,
like we were just talking about a little bit ago. To lose that way, to have Caleb throw a 50-yard, 14-yard touchdown into the back of the end zone. Where was it? Cam Curl that was covering him. I forget which. Kobe Durant.
Yeah.
You can literally see him. He's watching Caleb, and he sees him running back. And you go, oh, the play's over. And he just gives up. And then Caleb throws it on a rope into the back of the end zone. Cole Kmet catches it, gets 3 feet in bounds, because that's what I was watching, by the way. He caught that ball, and I went directly to his feet because I was sure that he was going to step out of bounds. It felt destined. It really did.
Yeah.
It felt like, oh, man, like the defense has been stepping up. This is it. This is their time. You get the stop in overtime. A 3-and-out. And then the offense is driving, and it clicked in my head about halfway through that drive. They only need 3. They need 3, and they go to the conference championship game.
Yep.
And then DJ Moore doesn't run his route all the way through. Caleb makes a throw he doesn't need to make, gets picked off. Rams secondary has the game of their lives, and it's Bears are sent home packing.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. I'm just going to give the quick Ram fan perspective to that, because I do appreciate that we can do this in a friendly, collaborative environment here. And we'll shout out everyone in the chat. Thanks for tuning on in. We already got 21 cool people in here. Thanks for tuning on. So from the Rams fan perspective, I remember like that whole game, it felt like it was 10-10 for like ages. And then when Kyren gets the touchdown to go ahead 17, I was like, if the Rams can just hold on. And then when they got the stop and they got the ball back, you're like, okay, you just need to get 2 first downs, maybe 3, but two probably wins the game. Make the Bears use all their timeouts. And they get 1 timeout, or they get 2 timeouts used. They get 1 first down, and Kyren, he had to go out of bounds just because he had to make sure he got the first down, because he barely got that first down. And the first down is more important than stopping the clock. Obviously you want him to get the first down and stay in bounds, but that didn't work out. And so I remember Kyren goes out of bounds, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, got the first down. That's what most important here. Can you get a second first down? Because they needed 2 first downs anyway. And then when they didn't get the second first down, I'm like, oh no, we're punching it back, and the Bears have 1 timeout. And then when Caleb Williams throws off like the greatest 14-yard pass ever, it was really 50 yards. I remember in my head being like, Kobe Durant, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? If Kobe Durant plays that till the end of the play, probably doesn't happen that way. But
no, it's either a pass breakup or an interception, one of the 2.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. But and I also remember seeing the Rams pass rush almost getting to Caleb Williams. And at that point, Caleb Williams just like throwing up a prayer. And yeah. then he goes up there and he catches it. And Cole Kmet, who hadn't done squat the entire game, and now it's tied at 17. And you're just like, okay. Well, and I do remember thinking like, okay, there's like, I think there was like 18 seconds left or 13 when the Rams actually took over on offense. And you're like, are they going to try and throw one deep? But it was clear the Rams didn't want to take any risks with that ball at all. And so then they go into overtime, and Stafford goes to the coin toss, and it really concerned me because he always calls heads, and he always loses the coin toss.
Tails never fails, baby.
I've never seen Stafford win an overtime coin toss in a Rams uniform. I've never seen it once. But anyway, so then they start with the ball, and you're like, okay, great. The Bears get it next because they get 4 downs to always try and score. Ideally, the Rams go and score here. 3 and out, and you're like, oh, no. And then when Cam Curl, which I feel like isn't getting talked about enough, makes a diving interception. And yes, it wasn't the most ideal throw by Caleb Williams, but it was a really phenomenal.
It was an incredible play. I don't want to take anything away from that play. That was a phenomenal play in the best game of Cam Curl's career, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And when he caught that, and I just was going nuts. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I had your thought of like, "We only need 3. We only need 3." And so then when they get into, because Devontae Adams makes his crazy toe tap catch, and then Puka makes catch, Parkinson makes catch. They get into field goal range, and then they threw the two throws towards the end zone pylons, which I still don't understand the purpose of those, but like I feel like they were like, hey, we don't want to take a risk running the ball and fumbling it, so we're going to do these 2 throws where either the Rams receiver catches it or no one catches it. And then they got to 4th down, and the Thiccer Kicker, Harrison Mevis, comes in and kicks the 42-yarder to win the game. And I just went nuts and still for life. Yeah. Whew. Okay. We worked through it. It's all out there. Hello, everyone in the chat. Wesley XC, I see you guys. Sinjin is here, one of our resident Seahawks fans. Manuel's here. They're loving it. Absolutely. Well, anyone who's watching, if you guys have any questions for Bryce as a Bears fan, feel free to ask him. If you have any hot takes or anything about the game, please let us know. We have a couple of topics we're going to talk about here, and throughout the show, we'll address comments and questions along the way. So let's start off with this. And Bryce, I want to give you the floor here because I do want to respect, you're coming on to a Rams fan channel doing this here. So I know you were saying this has been an awesome season for the Bears. Whether they won or lost this game, it was kind of gravy to you, but like, what is next for the Chicago Bears going forward?
So I do want to start with just like general big picture offseason overview. I expect an absurd amount of their resources to be dedicated to the front 7.
Okay.
And specifically even the front 4.
Okay.
DJ Moore's, like we talked about, his lack of effort on that play, and it's tough because I've been calling him just with my friends and stuff the cheese grater for like the last month because he's just the Packer killer all of a sudden, and he's had some great games since Rome's been hurt. But to have that play be the end of the season and all the weird stuff that went on in the preseason, and with him and Ben Johnson just don't really get along, it seems, and I'm not sure he fits into Ben Johnson's plan for the offense.
Right.
I would not be surprised to see something crazy like a DJ Moore in a first-round pick for a Max Crosby kind of deal if he decides that after being told that he has to sit out for 2 games, he decides that he's done with the Raiders because they're not the organization he thought they were. Yeah. I expect like a name like Caden McDonald is an interesting name to watch in the draft. The big D tackle out of Ohio State. But yeah, I expect a lot of that. I mean, we have to talk about Brisker, right?
Yeah, he played games.
He had that one drive where he had 3 plays in a row where he just snuffed out the whole drive by himself.
Yeah.
Like it was, I made a remark at the beginning of the game that he just hasn't been hitting like he used to.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 5 minutes after I say that, he's starting to hit like he used to. Yeah. And he was throwing his body weight around. It was really cool to see. I I think he played himself into a pretty good payday, and he might have priced himself out of returning to Chicago, which is a bummer.
Really? Okay. Oh, you got a question here from Manuel coming in. He's saying, "Hey Bryce, do you think the Bears will trade one of their wide receivers? They seem to have too many. You just talked about DJ Moore. Do you think anything else happens with the Bears wide receiving core?"
That is a great question. The only guy I see them moving is DJ Moore.
Okay.
You look at like Rome is the guy that they want to be their wide receiver one going forward, right? So he's not going to go anywhere. Burden is awesome. Like he had a couple drops in the game, but he is absolutely incredible. And you have like Olamide Zacchaeus, who probably won't stick around.
He's a journeyman wide receiver at this point. Yeah.
He'll be one of the best fourth receivers wherever he goes, right? Like that's kind of his role. And then you even have guys like a guy that I really like that was awesome in the preseason and had one insane moment in the regular season is Jade Walker. Sorry. Who wears number 20 receiver, which is kind of weird, but he's really cool, really exciting young player. I could see if I see them moving someone, it's definitely DJ Moore.
Okay. Well, fair enough. That's cool. Well, thank you for that question there, Manuel. Everyone, we'll get to a couple of I see a few more questions coming in the chat. We'll get to them. I do want to kind of talk a little bit here. Let's talk about, so when we collabed, both of us were concerned about the Rams secondary, and you were concerned about the Bears secondary.
Yep.
We got to talk about the Bears and Rams defense this game, because they both stepped up, and maybe that was the cold helping them out. I thought this game was going to be a barn burner. I was totally wrong about the vibe of this game. But what were your thoughts on, like, is it safe to say this was the Bears' best defensive performance of the year?
I will say their best singular performance was the fourth quarter against the Packers last week. Okay. That I haven't seen anything like that from the Bears defense all year. But in terms of a full game, this was far and away their best game. It's not even close. And it's not a coincidence that it was with Kyler Gordon, who was completely off the injury report, Jalen Johnson, who seems to be finally he's not going to be 100%, even if they made it to the Super Bowl, he wouldn't get to 100%, but healthier than they were early in the season. So that was a big deal. But yes, this is by far their best performance.
And I found it interesting. Chris Shula really had a great performance for the Rams at defensive coordinator.
Yep.
And I know there were some people in my chat during my watch party that were being like, why aren't the Rams getting a sack on Caleb? Why aren't they getting a sack on Caleb? And I actually think that was intentional, where the Rams, they were playing contain. They did not want Williams to get to the outside. And for the most part, they did a good job of that. Really, there was only the one big run play by Caleb Williams. And I thought that both Jared Verse and Byron Young actually had a really good game on the edges. And their game plan for Caleb Williams to, contain him, I thought worked for the most part. The majority of the game, maybe not so much in the fourth quarter, but they did a good job of, not letting Caleb Williams go full on, we're going to be an offensive juggernaut today. And right. I felt that allowed the Rams secondary to cover the, pretty well. And they picked him off 3 times in this game here. But when you were watching this game, would you agree with that? Or did the Rams do a good job of that?
I think it was very interesting. Like you said, like Caleb didn't really rush at all. I'm not 100% sure if that was just the Rams game plan. I wonder if that was part of the offensive game plan as well. Like I haven't had a chance to go back and look at the all 22 or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like we were talking about with inbreakers in the last video that we did, if Ben Johnson just wanted to focus on that and he thought that there was a mismatch there. And also there's something to be said for Caleb's best situation for Caleb is when he gets a free rusher, which is like it sounds counterintuitive, but when he gets a free rusher that flushes him out of the pocket and kind of screws up the edge rusher's rush lane, and Caleb's able to get that edge, then he makes magic happen. And so I wonder if it was a combination of both. But I think Verse and Young had incredible games, especially in the run game. Jared Verse actually really impressed me.
Yeah, and again, I know a lot of people were like, oh, like, why aren't they sacking him? Why aren't they sacking him? And I think it's because even the one play where Caleb Williams broke for a big run, he broke 2 tackles that would have been a sack to set up that run, right? And so I actually think it was an intentional discipline by the Rams of like, we are playing contain. We are not gonna, we may not sack him, but we're not gonna let Caleb Williams extend the play as much as he's been doing. And I think that was probably the best strategy for that game, like specifically. And they were able to hold the Bears to 17 points on it, right?
Yeah, and in general, it was just, if you rush Caleb, I don't think this is crazy to say. I think he is probably the best quarterback in football right now at evading sacks. Yeah. You can make an argument for Lamar, but I'm kind of excluding him because he wasn't healthy all year. But
yeah,
like just the manner in which Caleb was able to make guys miss. There were times you would see an edge rusher get up and just look around where like, he just doesn't know, how am I on the ground and how is he 20 yards away scrambling for a huge play, right? So I do think you're right. I think it was a discipline thing for sure.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I see another question here by Joachim, and Joachim lives over in Denmark, so good to see you, Joachim. And he says, good game. How do you feel about the refs letting them play and keeping flags in the pocket all game? Yeah, this is a really good question because they definitely let them play. What are your thoughts on that?
You're going to get me in trouble. The officiating in this game frustrated, like in general, I don't think it was an awfully officiated game.
Okay, hold up. I'm going to pause you 1 sec. For perspective, in penalties, the Rams had 1 penalty for 5 yards. The Bears had 3 penalties for 24 yards. That's it. That's unheard of crazy.
The thing that really stings for me, is that one of those is Coleman Shelton running into Gervon Dexter.
Right. Yeah.
Like I might, everyone might disagree with me, and I know where I am, and I know it's a possibility. But from my perspective, even trying to take all my bias out of it, it really looked to me like Gervon Dexter is just running, and Coleman Shelton runs into him and flops over and draws the flag, which extends the drive that ended up being a scoring drive after that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When that flag was there, I definitely had the mindset of like, oh, he kind of looks like he just ran into him. I don't know if I would go so bold to say flop, but he definitely ran into him. It did not seem like this like intentional going out of his way after the play is done, right? But yeah, that was probably the one penalty where it's like, oh, that was kind of questionable, yeah.
But like that play, and then the other one, we have to talk about this at some point. The Davante Adams catch.
Yeah. Catching down.
So how on earth do you have the Brandon Cooks play the day before and then that play the day after and you rule them differently?
Yeah.
That's what frustrates me, even as an unbiased fan.
Yep.
That's the thing that drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, that's a very fair question to ask. And I'm a firm believer that when I watched that Brandon Cooks catch, I thought he was a catch and down.
I agree.
And that's why, like, when Davante Adams caught it and they show the picture of it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a catch. His knee is down. He has control. And like the defender didn't rip it out till after his knee is down to it there. But I could see how that'd be frustrating.
And to be clear, like I see some comments there. Like I do think that it was a catch. Like to be clear, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if the NFL sets the precedent, no, that's not a catch, then they have to be consistent.
Yeah.
I think calling it 2 different ways in 2 different games on the same weekend is just brutal. It's a gut punch.
And like on the officiating thing, did you see right at kickoff of the Rams Bears, they released a statement by the NFL about a officiating mistake in the Rams-Panthers game.
I did not see that.
So one of the kickoffs, they let the Panthers kick it off from the 40. And like it like didn't do it. So like
interesting.
And that's why I'm a firm believer. Like, I've never reffed at a professional level.
Right.
I have reffed kids soccer and basketball. I've reffed some high school sports here and there, and I totally get it. Like, human error in reffing is totally legit, but it does boggle my mind that like the NFL that has professional refs can make like crazy things like that when they have all this technology at their disposal and things like that. So totally get that. Back to just like the flags this game, and because it's interesting, I see a lot of people saying like, oh, it's a clean game. They really let them play. I totally think like there were a bunch of face mask calls on both teams that they got away with. There was some false starts that, and that stuff happens like every game. And like, I know you could call it almost every single play, as they say in Madden. But I do think that for what this game was and the intensity that it was, I am glad it didn't come down to like a controversial call, right?
Yeah.
Like if Caleb Williams throws that incredible thing and he doesn't catch it, but then like it's PI, and like how heartbreaking would that be, like, to have it like end like that, right?
There was also, I will say, I forget which touchdown it was. There's one touchdown where it was blatant offensive pass interference, where I think it was Puka ran like a pick route that even from the broadcast, I was like, oh, that's offensive pass interference. And I was waiting for the flag and it never came. Like, that stuff hurts, but I understand letting them play.
Yeah. No, and I think like what's frustrating about the NFL is like in the playoffs, the officiating crews from the regular season, they change them up, and they like take the best refs from each crew and put them together in these like these Frankenstein crews.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the way to go, really, but anyway, we've talked enough about refs. We can move on. Yeah, totally. Our next topic here that I want to bring up, we talked about the Rams D and the Bears D, and we were surprised by that. But one of the other things that was just talked about so much last week that every Rams.
Well, I think we lost them there. Give him a second to get back. I agree, Manuel. Like, with all the rules they have today, they should have at least one challenge flag for penalty. I think every penalty should be reviewable.
Yeah.
I do think that. I 100% agree there.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I clicked the lead. That's on me. I'm sorry. I'm back.
No worries, man.
Anyway, I was hyping that up. The one thing, every Rams and Bears fan, they had to be a meteorologist last week. They talked about the cold to ad nauseum. And I actually, so I saw a story today. I think it was by Mike Florio, and he talked about how before the game, he saw that Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur was like on the field, and he's normally up in the booth, and he goes up there during the game, but he was there. McVay was there. All the Rams coaching staff and all the Rams players before the game, they were just like hyping each other up about playing in the cold, like. They weren't letting them have a negative thought about like, oh man, it's cold, like let's get out of here. Like, there was just like team cohesive like thought of like, yeah, we're playing football in the cold. We're from LA, like we're doing. And I really think like that's good coaching. That's good team culture. When you're a team from a warm weather environment, you have to do that to go and win a divisional playoff game like that. So I definitely think the cold, both teams had to play in it. But now that the game has come and gone, did the Rams and Bears beat the cold?
I think the cold definitely played a factor. Like, you see, Caleb did the same thing that Stafford did last week with his hand very early in the game. Although I will say, not to divert, that play was 100% roughing the passer. Caleb got clubbed in the head in that play, but I digress. Like that was another one that stung, but again, it doesn't affect the outcome of the game, so it's not a big deal. So I think it had an effect. Both teams were able to run the ball very well over the course of the game. And so the cold, like I saw a bunch of people saying this week, the cold favors whoever's bigger. Right? Like if you're bigger, then you're able to move. And it was very interesting because both offenses were just bigger.
Yeah.
But the offenses didn't control the game. So I almost wonder if the cold beat both teams a little bit, and it was just who was going to get beat less, and it ended up being the Rams.
Yeah, and you know, and when Mevis goes to make that kick in overtime, I actually thought to myself, I'm like, oh, is this where the cold and the wind comes into play? Yeah. But I am thankful because the Rams lost the coin toss in overtime. They got to decide which direction they were kicking in. And so, like, you know, maybe that was helpful, things like that. But I definitely, you know, I think the cold was a factor. I'm not, you know, not going to belittle that. But I do find it really interesting that the narrative around the Rams, whenever they go to play a cold weather game, is like, oh, like, they just can't play in the cold. Like, they're those LA boys. They're a dome team, even though we're not a dome team. Can it be team? But yeah, all this to say, I found it just, even though it was a low scoring game, it was thrilling and entertaining start to finish.
Absolutely it was. And just to be clear, like, I think if you have a game where it's cold and it's this battle, you would rather have the guys just play.
Yeah.
Right. And it really did seem like a game where the guys were just able to play. And you appreciate that because there's nothing worse than, like, you don't want to be in a situation where the Bills and Broncos, where you're watching that game, and if you're a Bills fan leaving that game, you're like, man, was it really us? And I just hate that being the question. It's like, you don't want the third crew on the team, the third unit on the field to be the crew that decides the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fallen Star saying respect to the Bears and their fans, bro.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Muab Deeb is here saying Rams house. He's been coaching Super Smash Brothers because they have a match. Oh, good luck having a, you know, go. Who's your main? Juno Trooper saying good game, Bryce. Good game, Bears.
Absolutely, GGs.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, 71's go. We know Stafford gets hit all the time. I've like rarely ever gets a roughing the passer call.
That's been Bears quarterbacks my whole life too. It's tough out here. When Caleb got that one roughing he got in the game, I was jumping up and down because it never happens.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Old Man Ghost, aka Bruce, saying that was a wild roller coaster ride. Striker's Corner, he's excited for the Indiana versus Miami game. Yeah, that's starting
Absolutely.
soon. Cool. Manuel was saying, Bryce, keep your head up. Bears look like they are a team on the rise, and I'm sure we'll see them again in the playoffs down the road. I could totally see it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I do think realistically the Bears next year, I see them being an 11 or 12 win team again, but they're a much better team.
Yeah.
Right? You're not relying on a blocked kick against the Raiders and an onside kick fumble by the Packers. Like, I can see it just being a much more complete team that gets closer.
Yeah. Well, one, like, to do what the Bears did this year consistently, I don't think that's sustainable.
No.
Right? Like constantly winning off one score games. I think the Bears are probably one draft class away, like one good draft away from truly being a contender where it's like, okay, you go beat the teams you're supposed to beat, handle your business, and then like 50-50 you play, like you go against the good teams there, right? So it'll be interesting to see them next year for sure.
Yeah, and even you look at, like, with the way that the Bears won all those games with turnovers, and they had the worst turnover luck all year. Like, Stafford fumbled the ball so many times, and it just somehow
it went back to him. Yeah,
go like the one where he fumbles it and it bounces right back into his rib cage. It's like, like that was it. The Byard interception that he drops.
Yeah.
the diving play that he's made like 4 times this year, and he doesn't get that one. It's like, oh, where if you just get one of those, you feel like it just swings the whole game.
Changes the whole game. Yeah, absolutely. Sup, Willie? Good to see you there. And we'll Fallen Star, we'll definitely talk about the future of the Rams moving forward a little bit. I got one more topic with Bryce I want to touch on here. So we had our opinions going into this game of, who were the players to watch out for, the X factors, things like that. So now that the game is come and gone, I am shocked from a Rams fan perspective. The key players, Kyron Williams was a key player for the Rams. Cam Turtle, Kobe Durant, big key players. Quentin Lake on the play where Swift is going to get a touchdown. He evades one tackle, and Lake tackles him in midair to prevent him from getting hit. Right? Like those were players that stepped up in this game. So from the Bears fan perspective, who were the key players kind of, that you would say?
Brisker is the first guy that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brisker had an incredible game. Byard, even though he dropped the one pick and he almost got the other pick on Devontae Adams, he had a very good game as well. Even though he ends up throwing the pick at the end of the game, Caleb willed that team into the game. I think, Jordan McFadden, the Bears left guard, who has played 3 starts in his career.
Yeah.
Was incredible.
Stepped up.
Like, he wasn't perfect. I mean, there were times where we were like, oh, we got beat there. But as a full game sample size, he played very, very well for a guy that was filling in with Joe Tooney moving up to left tackle.
Yeah, and I actually remember when that announcement came out about Tooney being moved, there were some Bears fans that were like, oh no, like what is this going to be a problem here? But it was probably the right move given the Bears circumstances, right?
Yeah. Theo Benedette, I love him, the Canadian Eagle. But he is one of the actually better left tackles in the run game. But in the pass game, he is not good. He has a very, very, very long way to go. And so sticking him up against Verse, like we talked about, that was one of my biggest fears.
It's a mismatch, yeah.
I think it was the right move.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about him at all, but a lot was made of the Sean McVay versus Ben Johnson chess match here, where realistically Dennis Allen and Chris Shula on the defense, they were like, we're the ones actually playing chess against these offensive geniuses, and we're gonna do a great job, preventing it. So I know Chris Shula is getting some head coaching interviews, and he's expected to get one. But I actually think Dennis Allen, he had a rough tenure with the Saints, but he might not be far off from getting a head coaching gig himself.
I wonder about that. I think when you get fired by the Saints, it's tough because they're so patient.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would like to think at least, or I would like to hope that he's in Chicago for a very long time. I know there were a lot of people in the Bears community that wanted him fired after like 12 weeks, and maintained that up until, I mean, they changed their tune pretty quick in the fourth quarter last week, but there were a lot of people that wanted him fired. And so it'd be very interesting. A lot of people are looking at Al Harris as well, the Bears DB coach.
Okay.
I heard a lot of smoke about that. It kind of petered off near the end of the year, but yeah. I do have a question for you though. What do you think about the stuff with Matt LaFleur totally not helping Sean McVay game plan against the Rams, or against the Bears rather?
You know what? I never know. Like, okay, fact, Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur are really good friends.
Right.
They have very different offensive philosophies.
Yep.
They come from a similar scheme, but they are both they've both evolved as offensive minds that what LaFleur does is so different than what McVay does.
Right.
Kind of maybe the same base, but it's drastically different, especially at this point in their careers. I don't I'm confident that Sean McVay and Chris Shula are smart enough coaches that they can game plan for the Bears without the help of Matt LaFleur. Personally,
100%. For me, it's just the principle of the thing, right? Like
okay.
I don't to have like someone from a separate team helping and like offering insight on game plan for a different team just seems like that shouldn't be allowed.
And
I
like
don't know.
for all we know that like that never happened, right? Like that's
For sure, for sure.
right? Like,
It's just a theory that I'm curious about.
Yeah. But Strikers Corner, thank you for the $2 super chat saying the Bears rebuild is scary, a few playmakers away. Yeah, I said it. They are one good draft away from being a juggernaut team. Absolutely.
I can't believe that this is a conversation that we're actually having, to be perfectly
honest. Right? Like you had this, like a year ago this time, you were like I remember Bears fans being like, "Oh, I'm glad this season's over," right? Yeah.
Well, and then in fairness, a year ago this time, we were still riding the high off of beating the Packers in Lambeau.
That's true. Yeah, that's true in the final game. Yeah,
that season was just the contrast between last season and this season are incredible. Like, actually, the perfect example. Do you know who the Bears center was last year?
Coleman
Shelton, who was one of the worst offensive linemen I've ever seen in my life.
Really? He was that bad for the Bears?
He was awful. There were so many plays where he would be blocking nobody, standing there confused. Huh. And I was mystified. And then I see him mauling the Bears. Like, I don't understand. I'm sure that a lot of it has to do with the Bears' offensive coaching being
it must be
horrendous last year because it was so bad.
That's
it was so bad all year. But yeah, that was just a really interesting thing that I noticed.
Because he's been a really good center for the Rams this year. Yeah, that's so interesting, huh? I see a comment here from Muabdib I want to bring up saying, thank you for not going for 2 after making an insane backbreaking miracle play. Yeah, I've seen a lot of discourse around Ben Johnson's decision to not go for 2 after that crazy touchdown. And he talked about it from a purely like professional analytical way. And I have no issue with him getting the extra point going overtime. Like, especially he said, he's like, our 4th and goal situations have not been going well. So we just thought the better move was to take the field goal there. But there definitely is an argument for like, you have all the momentum in the world, have your best 2-point play and go try and win the game then there. But what are your thoughts on that? Did you want him to go for 2?
So there's a part of me that just wants him to end the game, right? But I think he made the right decision because there were so many times all game rather, that it was just very clear they didn't have it in short yardage. Like how many times get this stuffed on 3rd and 1 and then 4th and 1 again? And then they had that awesome drive to get down inside the 5 and then they go for it and they don't get it. Yeah. I think even if you miss it on every single other attempt, if you get it in that one spot where it's 4th and goal from the 5-yard line, if you score there, I think he goes for it. Yeah. But you go for it. You go for the extra point, you go to overtime, and then you get the 3 and out. So the bet pays off. Your offense just couldn't finish it.
Yeah, no, that's true. And this is a really great point brought up by Strikers Corner and Manuel saying it's funny. Jonah Jackson didn't work out for the Rams.
That's actually a good point.
They're doing better. Because has Jonah Jackson been pretty good for you guys?
He's been incredible. He's been awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
And he was an All-Pro with, or maybe a Pro Bowler. He's either one of the two with Ben Johnson in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I remember when the Rams signed him to a big contract, I was stoked. I was like, oh yeah, like we got Jonah Jackson. But then he just didn't really work out. Like right. he for whatever reason, like maybe it is a scheme thing. So then they trade him to the Bears, which I remember thinking like, okay, good. Like Jonah Jackson's off the books and Bears, you can have him. But now he's, back with Ben Johnson and, having a career year by the sounds of it.
You can make an argument that he and Tooney were tied for the 2nd best lineman on the Bears.
Really? Oh,
yeah. Especially in the run game. He was a mauler.
That's so interesting. Okay, let's talk about this. I know Strikers Corner brings up this saying I need heart meds to be able to watch the Rams and Hawks next week. That entire game, my heart was pumping. I know you were you watching it with your family, you were saying?
Yeah.
And how were your stress levels?
So the crazy thing is that when it happens to you so often,
You're just immune to it.
well, it's not that you're immune to it. It's just you look at the clock and you say, "Oh, there's still time."
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean my heart wasn't in my throat, but it was like there's still time and Caleb does this. And when Caleb hits that last throw in regulation, I have never in my life screamed at my TV like I did.
Yeah.
There were like 10 of us watching the game, and we were all screaming. Now, I couldn't run around because I had my baby in my arms, so I couldn't jump up and down or anything. But I was screaming, and she woke up, and she wasn't happy. But I choose to believe that she was screaming for joy like us. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Dad, what
is going on?
Don't wake me up." Okay. Was everyone you were watching with Bears fans?
Mostly we had one Bills fan with us, but yeah, everyone else.
Oh, consoling him. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We tried to get a win for him, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Well, that's that it's going to be interesting seeing moving forward here. And do you mind? I would love to hear your perspective as we're Ram fans here. We know we can sometimes be in a bit of an echo chamber here on the Rams radar, but we are a community that can appreciate nuance to an extent and hear opinions that are unlike our own. What are your thoughts on the Rams going into Seattle to play the Seahawks next week?
So, full disclosure, my favorite team is the Bears, obviously. My second favorite team is the Texans.
Okay.
So, rough weekend for me. But
rough weekend, yeah.
Aside from those two teams, it's just like on a year-to-year basis, who do I love watching? My two other teams have been the Rams and the Seahawks.
Okay.
So,
good teams to watch this year. Yeah.
Gray Zabel was my guy in the draft process. Like, I was campaigning for the Bears to trade back from 10, like, go into the middle of the round, get Gray Zabel, like he's gonna be awesome. Then we made all those moves for offensive linemen, and it just wasn't gonna work out, and we got Colson Loveland. Can't be upset. I think this is gonna be the barn burner that we thought the Bears game was gonna be.
Okay.
Zach Charbonnet is done.
Yep. Yeah.
Towards ACL, which is a bummer. I watched that play, and I have hit somebody exactly like that, and it ended not too dissimilarly. So like I watched that and I was like, oh, that sucks. I love Kenneth Walker though, so I think it might be a big Kenneth Walker game just because the Seahawks run game is really good. But if you can, I'm blanking on his name, but if you can expose the Seahawks right guard, who might be the worst starting offensive lineman in all of football, that'll be big. But it's going to be a duel. Can you make Sam Darnold move? Can the Seahawks make Matthew Stafford move? Is going to be the question. Because when either of those guys are operating from a messy pocket, it gets pretty ugly pretty fast. And so, I don't think Kenneth Walker was injured, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I think for everything I've read, he's playing. Charbonnet is out.
Charbonnet towards ACL.
Yeah. And so, are you talking about Anthony Bradford?
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah. He is. I've heard him described as like in the basketball playoffs, you can have a guy that doesn't play any defense in the regular season, and it's kind of fine. You can kind of hide him, you can scheme around him, and kind of tuck him in the corner. But once you get into the playoffs and teams can actually game plan, and all of a sudden he's getting ISO'd and switched onto every single rep.
Right.
So maybe we see some Jared Verse lined up a little bit inside. Maybe we see some Byron Young lined up a little bit inside. But I think if you can exploit that weakness, it'll be huge. If you can't, it's gonna be a tight game.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've just accepted every Rams game now on is coming down to the wire, and I embrace it. And I still believe the Rams' best football has yet to be seen this year, because they've had a couple of games where I would say they played a complete game, and I do believe the Rams are a talented enough team they can beat anyone. And like if you look at the games that the Rams lost this year, it normally comes down to special teams, which it seems that with Harrison Mevis, the Rams have kind of corrected that. And so the hope is definitely that, like I told you in our preview of this, I want the Rams special teams to be boring.
Yep.
And that's what they were in this game. Ethan Evans did not have the best punting performance.
He had that one punt he shanked.
Yeah. But in general, like, they didn't let Duvernay do anything. I was cool with that. And
he had that one good return. He had one good return at the end of the game where he brought it up to the 40-yard line or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think I'm at the point now where it's just like, okay, as long as
one is fine.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. 100%.
I don't want them kicking it to Shaheed next week at all. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Bryce, thank you so much for taking the time and hanging out with me and all of us here on the Rams Radar. I know you were saying that you're looking at maybe starting your own sports podcast a little bit.
Yeah. Hopefully by the end of the week, it's going to be up and running. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, let me know, and we'll definitely we'll plug that on the Rams Radar community tab. And anyone here, feel free to reach out to Bryce when he does start his new channel, and please give him some thank yous in the chat for coming on here on a Rams fan channel. Bryce, that's really cool of you. I've seen a lot of Bears fans that are pretty ticked off today. So the fact that you can hold your head high, smile on your face, and come on and talk about this game in the way that you did, we really appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a blast.
And everyone, I will see you on Wednesday for First Down Rams Live with myself and Rams House. And of course, I will be live for the Rams Seahawks game coming up next week. As always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams.